Chapter 1 Entity the Devourer. There is silence in the basement, hanging over your mind like a thick fog. It makes it impossible for you to think, for to break such a silence even with thought feels almost blasphemous. Your hand rests on the handle to a door, one you do not wish to open but are incapable of pulling away from. You cannot see the rest of the basement through the darkness. Your vision dies a foot away from your face. Your breath catches in your throat as you stare into that unfamiliar darkness, and you know something lies within it. You don't know what. You can't bring yourself to think about that, nor is leaving the door an option. Your hand is glued to it, though you tell yourself you could let go if you wanted. The pace of your heart quickens as you hear sounds from beyond that wall of inky black in front of your face. You think for a moment that they might be the sounds of an animal, one choking on its own blood. But there is no panic in the guttural sound. It's far too filled with malicious intent to have room for fear. It can smell yours, though. You know that it can smell yours. You're sweating now. The cold metal handle of the door slick and damp. The sounds grow louder and the darkness thicker. The noise reverberates within your skull, threatening to shatter the edges of your mind. You don't even realize that you've opened the door, not until you're stumbling past the frame that marks a boundary, one that the hungry darkness cannot cross. The door shuts behind you, and you are free to think once more. You may finally ask yourself questions that you should surely know the answers to, but find yourself so devoid of understanding and, more importantly, remembrance. You are here for a reason, and the basement is connected to a home that you know. The door that you entered is, of course, connected to the basements, which you should know, as it surely belongs to a home that you most definitely do know. Knowing this, of course, will leave you with one logical plan to return to something that you'll understand, a kickoff from where you might then understand the rest of your situation. All you have to do is return to what you know, and if you know this door, then it must lead to something familiar. You turn around to face the path that lies before you and are met with a staircase descending into the earth. It is not as dark as the basement. Small, flickering lights emanate from candles perched precariously upon thin wooden shelves. Their light illuminates the cobwebs and the rickety staircase itself, each step laden with dust and dirt. You can see thanks to the light, but the atmosphere is no less choking. The air is heavy, damp, and every breath is a struggle. You tell yourself that it's because of poor ventilation, and with no small degree of hesitation, you step from the landing onto the first step of the stairs. You can feel the spongy, damp wood warping underneath your weight, groaning in what sounds like pain as you move to the next step. You tell yourself that the boards are just old, and the damp is too much for them. You tell yourself anything to quell the bubbling insecurity within, but it doesn't help you. It won't help you. With agonizing steps, you descend the staircase. The candlelight grows weaker as you continue further down. The wood beneath your feet, more ancient and deformed, it smells of wet earth, and the scent chokes you as you breathe. You can feel the mud in your lungs, but you do not stop moving. You are descending towards something that you must surely know and will most definitely remember soon. There will be something familiar at the end of this staircase. There has to be something familiar at the end of this staircase. It's growing narrower now with every step. The drywall that enclosed you in the staircase is gone. In its place, the cold embrace of the dirt. You reach out to touch it, and the bits of wall crumble onto the steps. You can feel the life underneath the damp earth. You can feel the vibrations of tunneling worms and bugs and the humming of great trees' roots. You can almost hear it calling to you, and a part of you wants to answer. You have forgotten when the drywall vanished, and now are certain that the dirt is all there ever was. The stairs no longer creak, for they are stone beneath your feet. You think that perhaps they were wooden once, but the memory has long since left your mind. You wonder for a moment as you journey deeper down the staircase why you're there at all. What were you looking for again? You long for something real, for something that is not dirt. You want to feel the sun on your skin and breathe air that is not mud. You cannot stop yourself from coughing, hands stain brown when you pull them away from your mouth. You think you can see trickles of red, but it's surely a play of the dying light whose source you can no longer name. The walls continue to close in on you, and they press into your sides. You turn your body sideways to continue down the stairs, your skin scraping against rock and soil as you wriggle your way forward ever deeper into the earth. The walls are too close together, and for a moment you are stuck. A stone digs into your torso and you cannot move past it. You can barely breathe nor stop yourself from retching up thick blotches of mud from your lungs. You try to move back the way you came, if only to unlodge yourself from the crevice, but you are confronted with the fact that there is no longer a back. There is no longer something behind you, only hard, packed soil. You stop moving, and you wait. You do not know what for, but the earth sings to you as you wait, a melancholy tune with a tinge of sweetness, the song that is an undeniable yearning, and you can hear it vibrating through the soil. It wants to be found, though what it is you couldn't possibly fathom. You know that it calls to you. You know that it beckons you deeper into the ground, and you know that you cannot move forward. But you do not have to. The ground beneath your feet opens up and you fall downwards into the hole with a stumbling cry. The stone pressed against your torso cuts your flesh as gravity pulls you in. You are waist deep in the hole, blood dampening your clothes and turning the dirt around you to mud. You look around in hopes of finding something to grab onto to pull yourself free, but there is nothing. And yet, there is an emptiness beneath your feet, and the song echoes in your skull. You're caught on the edges, but with enough wriggling, you could push yourself downward. You could go deeper. And while to go deeper is the only option, you are not given the opportunity to make that choice for yourself. You can feel the ground pressing into your legs begin to ripple and pulsate. The rock and soil moves like the muscles of a throat to force you deeper into the hole. And with every ripple of the earth around you, you are pulled deeper into the ground. The trembling extends upwards and through what you are sure was once a stairwell, loose bits of stone and soil falling into the hole whose entrance now lies above you, peppering the top of your head. You try to pull yourself out, but any grip you might take crumbles underneath your hand. You try to scream, but your lungs are packed with dirt and all you can do is cough in desperation. Your head spins and your vision blurs, your body in need of air that it cannot get. You reach for the last rays of light, but your effort is entirely futile. The ceiling above collapses, and the earth swallows. When you open your eyes, the sight that greets you is at least a familiar one to you. You are lying on the floor in the basement once more, a singular light flickering overhead to illuminate the darkness. You recognize the stacks and piles of cardboard boxes, each labeled according to the contents within, old junk you've yet to donate or find uses for. You can see the shelves of collectibles you no longer care for, covered in a fine layer of dust. You know, without a doubt, that this basement belongs to you, which is why it is all the more strange to see the state that it is in. The foundation underneath you is cracked, greenery growing through the cement and reaching up to the ceiling. Vines coil around the wooden supports, piercing into the drywall and coiling through it like veins. The amount and density of the cobwebs has exponentially increased since your last visit to the basement, though you cannot recall how long ago that was. The most eye-catching thing in the room, however, and what you find yourself unable to look away from, is the figure crouched underneath the light. Her hair is long and tangled around twigs, strands fused together with caked mud. Her tank top has several holes, and while it may have once been white, it is now stained with dirt and grass. Her jacket is in much of the same condition as well as her shorts. Her skin is caked as well, covered in dirt, bruises, and cuts that blend together into a painting of earth and filth. Her mouth is covered with a black mask, and it is perhaps the only clean thing about her. You notice then that this strange woman is staring at you, eyes squinting to the point that they are barely open. You can hear the song once more, reverberating through your skull and threatening to shatter it from the inside out. It is no longer the sweet tune that you remember deep under the hard-packed soil. It is discordant, as if each note violently despises every other note it had to share a space with. Your skin crawls, and you try to cover your ears, but it does no good. The song is coming from within. You writhe upon the ground. The stranger stares at you. She moves her hand slowly and deliberately towards the cement foundation, and with ease her hand punctures the stone, scooping a large chunk up in her grasp. The other hand hooks under her mask and pulls it down. You see her mouth, a horrid display of flesh and thousands of grinding teeth, and you watch as she begins to eat. The song gets louder, and the pain courses through your veins, each feeling ready to burst within your body. Dig. You hear the thought into your mind in a voice so soft and sweet it must be that of an angel, offering a single word that must surely be salvation. You crawl towards the woman who has effortlessly scooped more of the floor into her hand to devour, rising on your knees in front of her with wild, desperate eyes. Dig. You punch your fist into the cement foundation and you hear your bones cracking, but that pain is nothing compared to the vile song in your head. Nothing happens. Dig. You do it again with more fury than before as you desperately try to find salvation, but nothing happens. Dig. The stranger guides your hand with hers and you feel it sink into the cement like it were mud. You scoop the rock now crumbling to dirt into your palm, and with her guidance, she looks at you expectantly. Dig. You raise the muddy rock to your mouth and you begin to eat. Your teeth crunch into it, some shattering against the stone, but it does not stop you. You eat the broken remains of your teeth, along with the shattered earth. Dig. You cannot stop yourself now. How much have you eaten? You cannot see the stranger anymore. You cannot see the basement. Dig. You aren't deep enough, but the pain of the wretched song of the surface is fading away. Dig. The cold earth presses in on you from all sides, and at last, you know peace.